their investigation. So now it is appropriate to release this information. In the spirit of transparency, you're going to get everything that we can deliver, facts, footage, and an explanation of where we stand today relative to the investigation.
And as we wait to get those tapes, let's go to Fox's Steve Harrigan, who is live in Charlotte. Steve?
Kimberly, this could all happen within the next few minutes. The chief has vowed to turn over everything, the videotape from the dash cam as well as from the body cam in that shooting Tuesday of 43-year-old Keith Scott. 4 days afterward, the video is going to come out, and there has been tremendous pressure on the chief, on the police force here to release that video. There is a sense on the street, particularly among the protesters, that the police have something to hide. A lot of accusations that a gun might have been planted or that the police killed an innocent or defenseless man. The chief has denied that all along, saying the police acted accordingly. They simply did not want to compromise the investigation by releasing that video too soon. So within minutes, we're likely to see that video, and the chief has warned that the video that will be shown is likely inconclusive. It won't prove one way or the other whether the police involved acted justifiably or not. But in a few minutes, people will be able to see that video and judge for themselves. Kimberly.
All right, Steve, thanks for that update. And again, we'll bring that video to you as soon as we can clear it and receive it. So, Dana, you have a question for Steve?
Yeah, I just feel, Steve, you know, unfortunately, we would love to have you on our air, but unfortunately, you're usually in places where there is unrest or these types of stories that you've done, especially in the last several years. And I wonder if you agree, it seems like we are witnessing history, like living through history of a transformational time where the treatment of evidence is changing right before our eyes and quite rapidly, possibly before the laws can change in terms of how you handle these things, because the police, I don't think, were inclined to release a video, but the pressure from the public was such that technology exists and you might as well release it. And I feel like the police, it even sounded today like in their press conference, they're not quite comfortable with this, but they're willing to do it.
That's right. They are under pressure when you have demonstrators out shouting every night, release the tapes, and a real sense of suspicion that the police might have something to hide. There is a demand for really immediate satisfaction. And the police have tried to make the argument that we have to interview people, and if they've seen videotape of what happened, that could change what they say. So we want a fair and honest interview. But there is pressure for immediate satisfaction. Now the police have decided to turn that over. So in the next few minutes, we could see the videotape of that shooting. Keep in mind, we've already seen one version of it. The family had videotape of their own that they released. The wife, the widow now, actually videotaped that shooting, a very emotional, powerful document. Again, inconclusive, but certainly it galvanized a lot of people out on the street who saw a woman pleading with police not to shoot her husband.
All right, Bowling.
So, Steve, we were listening to Chief Putney's conference there, and at one point he said we're going to release it because there's a lot of information the public deserves to see. And then later on, when he was asked the question, he said he personally did not see, I think you can clarify if I'm wrong, Chief did not see an instance where Keith Lamont Scott had a gun in his hand. So, as Dana points out, this won't be conclusive necessarily unless, I don't know, unless there's a way to take the wife's video and then the body cam and somehow make a case that there was never anything placed at the scene, so therefore what they did find was there in his hand all along. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, the chief has been pretty firm that the officers involved did nothing wrong, according to his view. He's also been firm in saying that there was a gun present. So despite claims from many out in the street that there could have been a plant, the chief is saying there was a gun there, and they will offer proof of that, not just as video proof, but DNA evidence as well.
All right, Juan has a question for you.
Steve, with regard to the gun, it was interesting to hear the chief say in the press conference that there was no reason that Scott should not have had a gun. There's been some question about that, whether or not I believe he was a convicted felon, is what Greg told me at one point. What do you know?
He has 14 arrests in his past. He has an arrest record in 3 different states. At least one of those convictions was for assault with an armed weapon. So he does have a history According to the police, he was not allowed to have a gun, and there is marijuana also involved in this incident. Keep in mind, initially, the police on the scene there were not looking for Scott. They were trying to find someone else. They noticed the marijuana and then saw the gun inside the vehicle, and things escalated from there. So this was not the man police were originally after when they arrived at that apartment complex.
Unbelievable. Greg.
Steve, I don't have a question about what I haven't seen yet, so I want to ask you about something that I have seen. The criminals, how is the progress going in terms of arresting and prosecuting the mobs who attack those innocent people in the parking garage and the people that destroy property? I know we've been focusing on the police and their behavior, but do we know anything about the rotten people who beat innocent people up?
There have been a number of arrests, 11 more last night, and police are using video footage to actually figure out who was behind some of that window smashing and looting and capture those people. And keep in mind, too, as the city of Charlotte is taking a real bad hit in its reputation, that things have changed over the past 2 nights. We've had 2 nights of violence, but the last 2 nights, peaceful, organized demonstrations, and the numbers are not huge. Just about 500 people out last night at their strongest point. So the question now is this newly released videotape going to inflame things further, turn people against the police, or will it be, as the police chief said, inconclusive, and we can see things continue to peter out here on the street as far as violence goes?
All right, Steve, we'll ask you to stand by. We're going to take it around the table here as we await the release of that important, crucial evidence. Hopefully we'll put some light on this whole situation and maybe make some of the people feel better. So, Dana, some thoughts on this. They're going to be able to release some of these important forensics, which is going to be another vantage point of the crime scene, of the forensics, of what was present at the scene, some of the evidence that they would need to process and tag right away, you know, in close conjunction with the time frame of the crime. Do you think that's going to provide any kind of, I guess, reassurance to the community that the police didn't do something wrong here?
Well, we'll have to see. We haven't seen the videotape yet, but I believe that the Putney was being as honest as he could be and as forthcoming as he could be. He did say, Kimberly, that no officers will be charged. He said that definitively, and I was curious about what you thought in terms of, since you know that when crimes are committed, it's not, everybody has a different perspective. You're dealing with human beings who might remember something differently. We do have some videotape, not all of it, but if you were the prosecutor, the DA in this case, or if you're making a decision about officers being charged or not, what do you do before this technology when you are weighing those different things? I'm fascinated by this change and how quickly it's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable because now you have everybody with social media and phones on their cameras, so there's an ability to be able to in real time document things as they occur. So the first thing you want to do when you find out that the suspect's wife had a video and had it on her phone, you want to get that so it's not tampered with. You want to preserve that and lock it in for evidence. You want to preserve the crime scene so people don't say, hey, somebody planted this, right? But you also have to do the regular, like, run-of-the-mill processing of forensics. You're going to look for any kind of material like DNA, fingerprints, all of the things that are going to need to go to the lab. In a situation like this of heightened public concern, you're going to ask for a quick processing, a quick turnaround. You have the FBI, the State Bureau of Investigations, a number of agencies, the DOJ involved. So that allows you to kind of like speed up, you know, the
But it also makes it a little bit slower.
Well,
like the law enforcement can't keep up with what the public is demanding.
Right, because she had her tape out first. So now it's actually put the pressure and put the you know, the pedal you know, on the gas to say, hey, you need to release this because all we right now have is hers. And I think they're in trouble because, especially with the rioting going on, that people are going to respond to that emotional video where she's begging for the life of, you know, her husband, please don't shoot him, please don't shoot him, and she's saying he doesn't have a gun. Well, then they're hard pressed because they have to provide some evidence to the contrary to show that this wasn't a case of you know, police overreaching, of brutality, of planting evidence. There's a lot of allegations out there. Greg.
Yeah, I mean, if the tape again is inconclusive, and if you want this to matter or have an impact, you have to be dealing with minds that would be willing to change, and I just don't see any minds refusing to bend on this. So when you present facts, the facts that dispute the larger story get thrown aside. For example, the 14 arrests may have nothing to do with that, but it does give you an influence into what kind of behavior in terms of compliance. With somebody with 14 prior arrests, what kind of compliance did he present? The job of the police officer is to deal with non-compliance, and unfortunately when reporters look at things like this, they don't see the job beginning until the camera's on. They don't see what is going on before that, and they don't see the reaction that police are reacting to non-compliance.
But Greg, you can't shoot somebody dead for non-compliance.
No. If non-compliance could mean anything. What I'm saying is, if they're trying to do their job and he doesn't put down a gun, that is non-compliance.
Yeah, well, if it's a threat to the police, the question is, was there a way to neutralize this situation without it ending with a human being dead?
Yes, and
I think that's a pretty radical solution to non-compliance.
And we focus on the behavior of the police all the time as they're trying to do probably the most dangerous job in the world.
You know, I have total respect for that, and I appreciate the fact that the police protect me. I mean, I appreciate the fact that the security protects me here as I do this show.
Especially with me around.
Check it out. I need some protection. But what I'm concerned about is, again, we are focusing on the minutia here. This is not an episode of Law and Order or forensics and blood and did he have the gun and what does the video show.
But those are facts.
That's fine. But we have got a national crisis here when it comes to the black community's feeling that the police nationally use excessive force when dealing especially with poor people, but specifically poor black and Latinos, and even more directly with young black men.
But Juan, so that is that's the larger story.
Right.
That when you present the larger story, the specifics just kind of drop off.
No,
they just flake away.
They don't drop off for me. But what I'm concerned about is that in specific that we, you know, like if you listen to Donald Trump, it's a law and order message. Back the police, back the police, back the police. And then if you listen to Clinton, Clinton is saying, well, I want to make sure that you hear the voices, like that woman that Dana was talking about yesterday, where she's saying, I don't want to just be sitting in my car and some guy come up and pop me and say, oh, I was a cop, I made a mistake, or I thought the person had a gun.
But Bowling, in this particular situation, the facts don't support
So
the
let's
narrative.
get right back to this situation, because I will again push back on Juan's assessment that any group is more targeted than others or dies at the hands of cops more than others as a percentage of the crimes violent crimes they commit. That's the facts. Those are the numbers. However, getting back to this, for the better part of 2 years we've been talking about, and on this show, the use of body cams.
Yeah, you
We've been pushing this for a long time. There's a $50 million program by the federal government that matches. So if a local municipality, a police force, wants to put up X amount of dollars, the feds will match that with X amount of dollars up to $50 million. That number should be triple that or quadruple that, because this could save lives and could save property damage with multiples of the $50 million. It'll also exonerate good cops and speed up the prosecution of bad cops. You know, if there's an issue, you'll know it right away. One cop here, according to Chief Putney, only one cop had a body cam. Why didn't all 3 or 4?
But they also had a dashboard.
Yeah, but you want the body cam. If you're going to be a shooter,
might have been the lead officer.
Well, I'm all for it. I just want to tell you that when I talk to police chiefs, the police chiefs say to me, hey, Juan, we're glad to have the body cams, but who's going to pay for the storage? Who's going to pay for the process?
That's the point, is the price.
But we pay for a lot of stupid
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay, well, we're going to see. The body cams were hardly, big issue, pressed a lot by the public. One of the officers had it on, so we're going to get that reveal pretty soon. We're going to continue to monitor the situation in Charlotte. As soon as those videos are released, we will bring them to you. Coming up on The 5, we're just 2 days away from the first presidential showdown. How are the candidates prepping today? We know. We just learned who's playing Trump in Hillary's mock debates. Those details next. Plus President Obama's advice.
You feel the power of love. Feel the power of love.
It's Saturday, and we're coming to you live from America's election headquarters because the biggest showdown of this presidential race, just 48 hours away. After months of trading attacks on the trail, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump coming face-to-face to duke it out for the first time at Hofstra University here in New York State on Monday. As we've seen in the past, Trump doesn't really hold back at debates. So will he this time? Not according to one of his surrogates, Rudy Giuliani.
Donald Trump is not going to reinvent himself. He isn't. Hillary Clinton is going through this like Hillary Clinton doesn't know who she is. I mean, she's got to stand there and they're going to go through this. They're doing psychological profiling and they're doing. Donald Trump is going to come out there. He can be Donald Trump. And if you believe in what he believes in, vote for him. And if you don't. And boy, is that refreshing.
Excited.
Hillary Clinton's getting some debate advice from a guy who's been through a few of them himself.
Be yourself and explain what motivates you. I've gotten to know Hillary and seen her work. I've seen her in tough times and in good times. She's in this for the right reasons.
You know, Dana, you're the pro here on appearing in public. So let me ask you.
I think I share that with all of you.
Yeah,
We've been here together for 6 years.
I think you have given counsel to people in
Well, it's
political
a little
position.
I feel like it's a little different for me. You know, by the time I was the spokesperson for President Bush, he had watched his dad be vice president for 2 terms and be president for 1 term, and to lose a race and to be there when his dad did not do well in the debates against Bill Clinton. Then he runs for governor, and then twice for president. By the time I got there, there was no changing him. And I think that's kind of true about both of these candidates, too. They are 69 or 70 years old. They know. I think they do know themselves. I know this part of the Trump positioning is that Hillary Clinton doesn't know who she is. I think that's how some people perceive her, but she herself probably knows who she is. We are heavy on debate pre-debate analysis. And I don't think any of us really knows what's going to happen. I really don't. But the other thing I would say is that this race is very close right now. He's done a lot better in September than he did in August, and he's got momentum, which is great. You can't necessarily win an election based on a debate, but you can lose one.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why the Clinton people seem very nervous.
Right. So let me ask Eric about Donald Trump, because here's what I've observed of Donald Trump on the debate stage. He talks about his polls, and I suppose he'll talk about gaining momentum. That's what he did during the Republican thing. Then his second thing is he tends to go quiet sometimes, and he also tends to just take a shot. Remember the nicknames. What do you think? Can that work here with a woman?
Again, now he has some advisors who've done wonders for him. His poll numbers are coming up. The momentum is in his corner.
Right.
I came up with 4 ideas. I'll go through them very quickly. I think this is what he really should do. The big question about him, and the ad that's working of Hillary Clinton's is his temperament ad, right? She keeps questioning the temperament. So stay calm. Don't get caught into the fight. Don't get dragged into the fight. It won't be good for you. Don't brawl, because she will then, after the debate, use it as you're a bully. Why do you want this bully? So stay calm, don't brawl. Number 3 is the message. Stay on the message. The message is you're part of that same old school establishment.
Status quo.
Yeah, the status quo politician. Do you really want more of that? If you want more of that, there's your president. If you want change, come to me. That would be the right message. And then do this. Ask her how much a gallon of gas costs right now. Or something like that, to that effect, to find out if she's really in touch with what's going on. She hasn't driven a car in 15 years.
I don't know.
Well, prep.
You look at me when you say that.
Bowling told him. He sent him some notes.
All right.
They're kind of both in that same boat.
So Kimberly,
Yes.
I want you, I know you're not a big Hillary fan, but let's imagine you're Hillary. What are you trying to accomplish, and what kind of shot would you take at Donald Trump?
Well, I think, you would try and take some shots to try to get under his skin so that you would provoke sort of a spontaneous combustion where he's going to say something that's offensive that will offend perhaps, again, women, millennials, independents, some of the people that he'd like to pull numbers from. That's who you would try to set it out there to kind of see if you can get him to take, the bait. He hasn't done a debate one-on-one before. He's had a lot of people on the stage with a lot of interplay, and so this is going to be really mano a mano. But, she's a smart woman. She's going to be well prepared. They've been doing a lot about this, but also I think he's got to, be himself. He's been more measured lately, and I think the influence too of some of the people around him now, like Kellyanne, to try and get him to kind of understand some of the nuance of that. But at the same time, you don't want to try and remake him, because that always turns out like some Frankenstein experiment.
Right. So Greg, what we learned today was that Philippe Reines is playing Donald Trump in the mock sessions with Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you know Philippe, but I know Philippe.
We lived together in the 90s.
In the 90s, is that right?
A bungalow in Berlin. It didn't work out. I have no idea who this person is.
But I will tell you,
reunited,
I will tell you that Philippe can be explosive in dealing with me or any
reporter.
Read his emails. Yes, he has a history in the emails that actually went public at one time. But does it help if you have somebody who is trying to be a jerk to Hillary Clinton? Is that the Trump that people now expect?
You got to build up your immune system. You got to go out there and get dirty, so you build up the immune system against other bacteria. So of course you've got to be tough, and the people around you have to have the guts to be tough. I think when I read all this debate prep, it's a contrast between the studier and the class clown. It's Lisa Simpson versus Bart Simpson. She's going to prepare like crazy. He's going to go for laughs, right? And the thing is, the reality is, generally the class clown wins because it's more memorable, more interesting, and more exciting to see a joke than to hear like a fact. If she wants to steep herself in facts, I think she might have to learn to be. Everybody says how funny she is privately. I have yet to see that.
We're waiting.
We're waiting, and his strategy is to let her talk, right? That's what he wants to do. Yeah,
he absolutely should. Let her talk as much as she possibly can for several reasons. Number one, she's not that likable when she talks, and number two, look, she's had a history of when she talks a long time, her voice, if she starts coughing, there's no breaks.
Yeah.
It's a 90 minutes straight through.
He should smoke a cigar, just see if he can get her to cough. You don't mind, and just light up, and then she'll start coughing.
You know, but in fact, I think the Between Two Ferns segment with Hillary Clinton is now the most watched of any of these. So apparently somebody
is that good or
thought she was
bad
funny.
for her?
Ahead, Hillary's email controversy, it's back, and right before this crucial debate. And there's a lot of new stunning information to dissect. Miss Dana Perino has details. And we are keeping a close eye on a Trump rally expected to begin soon in Virginia. The GOP nominee going to speak to his supporters. Keep it right here on The 5 on Fox.
I bet you never knew. We met on Ocean Avenue. Sweet Caroline, free fall, small town Sunday.
Hillary Clinton's email scandal has been haunting her throughout this race, and it's very likely to come up again at Monday's debate. 3 days before the showdown, the FBI released more notes on its investigation of the former Secretary of State. One of the findings? President Obama used a pseudonym to email with Clinton on her non-secured server. That raises questions about this previous claim from the president.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
During its investigation, the FBI showed one of the exchanges between the secretary and the president to Clinton's top aide, Uma Abedin, and she reportedly expressed shock, exclaiming, "How is this not classified?" The agency says Abedin then expressed her amazement at the president's use of a pseudonym and asked if she could have a copy of the email. All right. We don't have enough time for me to say everything, but I'll tell you this. Jeannie Mamo, my good friend, our guide here, she 8 years ago she said to me, Kimberly, mark my words, the biggest mistake Barack Obama is about to make is having a BlackBerry and email.
Yeah.
And this is like affecting him now. I don't expect him to know where a server is, but he clearly was emailing her with something.
Right. I mean, it's bad. The more you unravel of this, the worse off it gets for both of them. But the thing is, the clock is running out. You know, it's like end of the half, and if somebody's going to take a three-point shot, what are you going to do? I think she's going to get through this, unfortunately, because I believe in the truth and transparency coming out. But this is just like a sort of a slow walk past the election. But for the president, this isn't very, flattering, to say the least, that he was kind of unaware of this situation as well.
Also, I feel like, Eric, it is just shamelessly reckless, because one of the things Uma Abedin said that she would do, she told the FBI this, is she would get information from the Department of State, that's official information. She would copy it onto a different email so that then she could use Yahoo and send it then to the secretary. Yahoo, which just got hacked yesterday, the biggest hacking in American history. World history.
And I read the pushback, the Obama administration pushback is that, well, the president didn't know exactly that it was a private server, and sometimes a name will come up and you don't know that that's going to a private server, going directly to the secretary. For me, there's something vastly bigger in those 200 pages. The fact that 4 people on Hillary Clinton's staff, Pagliano, Cheryl Mills, Bentel, and Samuelson, 4 people on her staff got immunity, and then one of them, Cheryl Mills, was actually present when the FBI... one or two of them was present when the FBI was deposing.
Well, that just they got to act as her lawyer.
Act as her lawyer. It's insanity. I mean,
it's so inappropriate.
If all FBI investigations go down like that, we're in big trouble. And I'm just trying to figure out why they let it. And I think Chafis is the one who said the reason why they can't prosecute her further is because they were giving out immunity like candy.
Yeah, like chiclets.
Unbelievable.
That's why she
we're
knew
going
nothing.
to let Juan wrap this thing up, but you said you had something.
What?
fabulous.
No, I think, I mean, okay, yeah, it's news that Obama used a pseudonym on email, but what's disturbing is the pseudonym, which was reallyAkenyon@gmail.com. I mean, why isn't anybody reporting that? So
They told us not to say that.
Wait. Was the pseudonym Barry Soetoro?
yes, it was. But you can call this is like, they always say it's a clown car. This staff it's a clown Commodore 64, and Cheryl Mills gets immunity again. She gets more passes than you do, Kimberly, at a club.
I mean, I'm
That's
unlimited.
a lot.
And they're free passes.
All right, Juan, you get the last word.
Well, I don't think I should get the last word because I want to argue with all of you because I just think I love conspiracy theories, but the hyperventilating today, I don't get you.
Where
guys.
is it?
Hypervent. Oh yeah, this proves something. This proves something. Oh, why did this person get immunity? Why? Look, wait a minute. You've got 200 pages here. You got no headline. Nothing. You know what the headline is? She didn't even know her own password. She spilled coffee on some of her phones and ruined them. In terms of substance,
You don't think it's a big deal that they were emailing each other?
that the president emails the Secretary of State?
But he was obviously emailing her on an account that was
Well,
not
he
at
didn't
the State
what
Department.
he thinks or what the White House says.
hyperventilating.
They don't know. They don't know. These people, I'm going to tell you something, and Greg makes this point often, but I don't like it because I take it so personally. But I often have to ask my kids to help me make sense of the laptop today. I had somebody help me with Google Earth. I mean, but you say, oh, that's ridiculous. They should know. Sometimes
No, I didn't
these
say
people
that.
don't know.
I honestly don't think that's a bit the
Stay off of
headline.
Google
I think
Chat.
the headline is
They scroll
that
your
that
conversation.
that James
right?
Comey
Yes.
offered immunity to 4 of her highest lieutenants.
because he was
and
trying to
then
get
says
her.
He can't, then says he doesn't have enough
Bullying.
evidence to
But he was
prosecute.
trying
Because
to get her
obviously,
crazy.
no, the
Trying
fix
to
was
get
in.
her?
Yeah, that's what you should do.
All
If
she
you're-
has to say is Cheryl Mills knew, and then Cheryl Mills can't be
No,
deposed.
that's not-
She
that's
can't
not-
be blamed.
that's not-
It sounds like it was an
No, it is
FBI
the-
fact-finding mission rather than an investigation that was going to ever lead to an indictment.
Yeah.
That's
No, it
what
sounds
No,
to
it's
me
not.
like he was trying to use every power at his disposal, including Pagliano, who's basically just an IT guy,
I know.
to try to find, did she do
He was
something?
just following
This
orders,
is why
not
she
a great
knew that it
defense.
wasn't going to be a problem for her to run for president, to get the nomination, because when everybody is handed immunity like that, you ain't going anywhere.
But the thing is, like,
Let
she's
alone
not had a
that.
good answer on her emails to date. I don't see how she comes up with a better answer on Monday night, but she's going to have to answer it, I'm sure. We've got to keep going. Every debate has them. There's zingers. Donald Trump's known for his. We're going to take a look back at some of the most memorable lines in debate history, in all of history, next. And we're still waiting for Donald Trump to appear at a rally in Roanoke, Virginia. We're going to bring that to you when he does. Stay tuned.
And the tapes.
All right, the stakes are huge on Monday night. Get it? See what we did there? It could be the most watched presidential debate in history, an opportunity to perhaps change the game with one strong, memorable line. So let's take a look back at some of the most popular zingers in debate history.
These are the kind of elements of a national health insurance important to the American people. Governor Reagan, again, typically is against such a proposal.
Governor, there you go again.
I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
I have as much experience in the Congress as Jack Kennedy did when he sought the presidency.
Senator, I served with Jack Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
All right, so those are some of them. Dana, they left out my favorite one.
Which was your favorite?
When George W. Bush and Gore were going at it, and George he was saying something, he was delivering a line, and Gore walked up to him and just kind of looked at him and checked him with his head and continued, and Gore just looked like he was standing there on limbo.
That's my favorite moment too, and I learned something about that the other day. So I had asked someone, I mean, I said, you can't practice for that, right? And they said, actually, Mark McKinnon, who you love, apparently had studied all these tapes of Al Gore and had told President Bush, then governor, Gore likes to get in people's personal space. So don't be surprised if he comes in on you. Now, the reaction of the presidents was natural, but that moment is actually credited with helping President Bush win the vote of, the question of who would you rather have a beer with?
Yeah, that was
Right?
great. That was fantastic.
Before you
So
go-
Mark McKinnon
That's the story I heard.
That's a true
Love you,
story.
Buchanan.
But
Good job.
before you go on, let me just come back on that, which is, so then the famous moment that everyone's talking about today with regard to Hillary Clinton is Rick Lazio in the Senate campaign. Lazio then walks into Hillary Clinton's personal space, and it's taken that drove Hillary Clinton's numbers way up because women saw it as such a personal offense.
Afterwards, right? So afterwards, the campaign blew it up as Lazio's bullying.
It didn't work.
Oh, you think it was the campaign?
So Trump shouldn't do that. You shouldn't walk over and get in.
KG, your
I think you got that memo.
Your favorite? Any of these? Any of the others?
To be honest, it was the one with Reagan. I thought it was funny and clever and quick, and it really turned something that would be considered or perceived as a question mark or potentially, a negative about his ability to serve and his age into, a positive, and it also showed his sense of humor. So it sort of like wiped it away, like when you use Don to do the dishes.
So one of the other ones that they talked about is it was 1960, Nixon. And it was the first time I think it was televised, and he refused to wear makeup, and he ended up sweating.
Sweating a lot, yeah.
They credit that.
We know somebody else like that.
Who else does that?
You know? Well, I'm not going to say. It's somebody that works here.
Oh.
That refuses to wear makeup.
Oh, that's right, Gasparino.
Glad we kept that one under wraps.
Yeah, great. I thought that
You know what I feel bad for? I got to say, I feel bad for Dan Quayle. Like Dan Quayle was probably home right now. Just got back from playing golf. He's watching the 5, and it's like, oh no, not this again. It's like the equivalent of it's like the political equivalent of the ball going between Bill Buckner's legs.
Yeah.
It'll always be what you're known for, even though you've done other things. It will always be. He'll be like,
he's a
there it
great
goes again.
man.
Okay, I know they want us to taste one very quickly. Dukakis' ice cold response to Bernie Shaw's question about rape. Quick.
It's a mistake because, again, one of the things that you're looking for in the audience, the undecided voter, the people who are persuadable, is that they want to connect with you emotionally as a human being. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're the brightest bulb, as Greg was talking about, Lisa Simpson versus Homer Simpson. If Homer's funny, you are going to say, hey, he made a good impression.
Bart,
not Homer. Homer's never funny.
Although Homer might be a better.
I relate to Homer.
I think Juan's choice was it's Homer.
It's Homer. But let me just tell you this. I think that the biggest mistake ever made was Gerald Ford, who said, there's no Soviet control.
I read all about that today in The Atlantic, an article everyone should read if you care about the debate by James Fallows. That's not what he meant.
That's not what he meant, but it hurt him. It hurt him.
There's Lisa Simpson. Shoot, I'm going to lose.
All right. You got to leave it right there. It's Social Media Saturday. Please stay tuned for our answers to your questions about the election.
I did. I read that whole thing today.
Constipated? Trust #1 doctor recommended Dulcolax. Use Dulcolax tablets for gentle overnight relief, suppositories for relief in minutes, and stool softener.
Having LifeLock there to help us through, we didn't feel like victims anymore.
LifeLock. Call 1-800-306-3127 or visit LifeLockTVOffer.com. Use promo code JOINNOW to get 60 days risk-free and a free shredder with annual membership. Start your membership with LifeLock today.
It's Social Media Saturday. We're answering your election-related questions. Thank God I said election. That'll be later in the health hour. Okay.
No delay. Keep it clean.
You know it. Jillian L. asks, if you were asked to moderate a debate, would you do it? Or would you be nervous that you might mess up and ruin your career? Dana, we'll go this way.
You take the opportunities as they come to you. Don't say no. Yes, of course you do it. Yes. Jillian.
That's pretty funny. Okay, Eric.
Well, no.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
We would love to do that.
No, because if you applied that in everything in life, your life would be a disaster.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, in journalism.
Career opportunity.
There you go.
But
Thank
you remember, I think the last election cycle, we said the 5 should moderate 8.
Well, where did that idea go, by the way?
We'd be better on Family
With our
Feud.
promotions.
Yes.
Whatever happened with Family Feud? We're supposed to do that, too.
Wait, let's go to Juan, and then we'll go to you, Short Attention Span Theater.
Yes.
Oh, well, I've done it twice. So I've moderated the
Remember?
But I
Don't you remember when he got a little Newt Gingrich attention?
Yeah.
Neutered you.
I wouldn't go that far, but he had the audience. The audience went on my side.
Yeah.
But I must tell you, it's interesting. It's that I think Lester Holt is right now. The question is, do you have to prepare for Lester Holt or not? And I think if you have to prepare for Lester Holt, that's a problem. And we'll see how Hillary does, because people think Hillary, you know, if Trump starts off with the fabulous...
Right.
The question was,
yes, where are you going, Juan?
Would you moderate
no, because
I'm moving on to Kimberly.
No, Chris Wallace said he's not going to correct Trump.
Yeah.
The question is, does...
No, that's not the question.
Kimberly?
Of course I would do it. I would absolutely love it.
Of course you would.
Remember, I'm the one for the Facebook Friday. They wanted to be, if I was invisible for an hour, to be dropped in the center of Raqqa to kill all vices.
I understood that.
Yes, I would.
And I said I wanted to go to my laundromat to see if my shirts were getting cleaned, which is important. Remember that? You guys laugh, but everybody at home goes, he's right. I don't think they clean my shirts. I would say yes to the... I would say yes to the debate, and then for the 2 weeks leading up, I would have gastrointestinal problems like you wouldn't believe.
You mean like every day here?
Yeah, and then I'd be, because the sense of dread before I do something is 1,000 times worse than the actual act.
Than the actual thing.
All right, I'll start this way, and I already know your answer. I'll start with one. From Michael C. What will be your primary snack during the debates?
Avi.
I know, don't say it. Say your second snack. What's your second favorite
Well, you
snack?
know my snack, I love salami, and I love what?
Salami
hot
too.
dogs.
The Reckoning.
Pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket. Delightful.
Look at Juan's face.
What was the first answer? Salami?
Yeah,
no, you know this.
Yeah, but
you lived with me on a
that's kind of
bus.
messy if you're in a
No,
public
it's
situation.
not. No, it's not.
Finger food in
You
a
gotta
bar
cut
is
it
not
right.
good.
Salami.
Especially if there are no towels in the bathroom.
No, not the ones I get.
Well, I mean, I just sip on coffee. It doesn't matter what I'm doing.
Well, that's exciting.
That's not true. You eat cookies.
I love
on the
cookies.
set, that's
Water
true.
here.
You do. You eat cookies on the set.
So
on election night.
Am I allowed to say that? So I'm going to be commenting on Facebook. Fox is going to do a Facebook Live. They're going to show the debate. We're going to be commenting, and the comments are going to come up. My primary snack is going to be vodka and club soda. So if you see the comments changing over the 90 minutes, you'll know why.
Should we call you until you put it down?
Maybe. They might.
I also have developed a really significant love affair with pistachios lately.
They're good.
Pistachios, yeah.
They are so
Do you like them shelled, or do you like to shell them yourself?
I like to crack them between my teeth.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Don't tell your dentist.
Yeah, your dentist would be very upset. Although I'm sure your dentist doesn't mind. Oh, she'll be in more.
My dentist is very understanding.
Does he give you nitrous?
I don't need it. I'm tough.
Okay.
Nice. My favorite snack, I have a new one.
What?
You don't like them very much. I had them in my office. The Terra nuts.
Yes,
Have
terrible.
you seen that? It's like all different kinds of nuts into a little packet.
Yeah.
And then you open it up. It's 90 calories. It's great. The only thing is you don't crumble them because then it'll explode. My friend Ingrid told me about those.
Wow, well, that's great.
So I ordered them on the internet.
Wow, that's an interesting
and
tool.
I told Chris Starwalt about them.
Yeah. Did you use the internet site Google? It's a it's a rising
Amazon.
thing. It's
Also, I like corn nuts.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
your dentist is going to freak.
corn nuts are
I
fantastic.
love 'em.
They're fantastic. I was with you. I would say my snack is basically alcohol and then my fingernails.
Oh, ew, you're so gross.
I bite my nails.
All right, let's.
I gotta stop. I gotta bite my nails.
never
At least it's
decide
my
on-
nails for now.
Start biting loose.
All right.
You're running out of room.
One more thing. Are we already at one more thing?
Yeah.
Up next.
You're deliberately trying to upset the control room. It's time now for one more thing. Kimberly, you go first. All right, I will. Kimberly's Food Court. It's a pretty exciting day for us here on the 5, and particularly for the Food Court, because behold the greatest food invention since sliced bread. That's not even true. Obviously, I didn't write that. Since sliced salami. The donut ice cream sandwich. What happens when Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts mate? They make this.
They make a donut
They make
sandwich?
a donut ice cream sandwich. Yes. So this is what's so delicious about it. You can get chocolate, you can get vanilla, and it has the candy sprinkles. And I'm going to try it for you here because you're probably afraid at home. Get ready for
First
this.
gay marriage and now this.
Great. Juan, you go.
Oh, is it? No,
Yes, it's yours.
I'll go.
Sorry.
So tonight
I was
on
trying to help.
Showtime, check
Wow,
this
this is
out.
so good.
John McAfee, he's the eccentric multi-millionaire who at one point moved to Belize, is accused of murdering 2 people. He's back here running McAfee. Watch a little piece of the show tonight. Watch.
Calls me and says, I need you to get me out of the country alive. We just put him on a boat and dump him in land in Guatemala.
I've been running through jungles and rivers and oceans.
Now he's back in the United States. It was as if it hadn't happened.
This guy killed people.
He goes from running away from something to now running for President of the United States. I don't see how he can lose. I'm serious.
All right, so check that out. Check local listings. Not sure what time, but showtime. It's going to be, looks really good. Juan.
Today, President Obama joined by President Bush for the opening of the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. A very touching moment came at the end. President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama joined 4 generations of the Bonner family, descendants of slaves, in ringing a bell from First Baptist Church in Williamsburg, Virginia, declaring the museum open. That was a real nod to history. 1863, President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and of course, all the church bells around the nation rang as the word of the Declaration spread.
Greg.
Very emotional.
Okay, 10 o'clock tonight, you got my show. You got Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Tyrus Cat, David Angelo. It's a great show, great show. Another little moment from the opening ceremonies that Juan just talked about. This is so human. Take a look at this. GW is trying to take a picture of some people. Let me see if I can.
They're trying to do a selfie.
Yeah, selfie. And he asks President Obama if he could do it for him.
Hold on. That's okay.
I think that's kind of awesome, actually, that the president actually does the selfie.
Okay, I'm going to do one more thing tease.
That was ruined.
I'm doing a one more thing tease because I'm going to tell you more about this on Monday. Purdue University has this awesome professor named Larry